Ms. Thomas, you and your mother have petitioned the court for a paternity test to prove the defendant is your biological father. You want him to one day walk you down the aisle and say proving paternity is the first step. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Powell, you claim the plaintiff's mother was with another man around the time of conception, which has always caused you to have doubt. And unfortunately, you don't believe that Aniqua is your daughter. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Thomas, you say he's missed out on so much. Explain.
I just felt like everybody else around me had their biological father, and I feel like for me not having a biological father was depressing. It's like a child without a mother, you know?
And all your life, you believe Mr. Powell was your biological father, but he just didn't come around?
So I was always told he was my biological father. I felt like he was. Of course, he wasn't around. He could have been around more.
And how does it feel that he didn't take that opportunity?
I just felt like he didn't put enough effort in trying to get to know me.
Mr. Powell?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why didn't you put the effort in?
Because I found out she was pregnant through a family member, and one of the family members was like, that ain't your kid. That's her ex-kid. And another family member was like, well, nah, I think it's yours. So I don't know who to believe. Then a close friend of mine got me back in touch with her, and she was showing. And I was like, who kid is that? And she was like, this your baby.
Oh, so she told you this is your baby?
Yeah.
So this entire time, you've had doubt?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, can I say something?
Yes.
Me and Cole always been friends, you know. If he had any doubt from the time that I told him that I was pregnant, even when I wasn't even showing, he could have said something then. And then when the baby was born, he came and saw the baby, everything. He even told me he wanted me to name her Nicole after him. His name is Cole, her name is Nicole. I mean, he spent time with me and the baby.
So he spent time with you and your daughter?
He would come to my house. He was spending time with her, taking her with him for the whole summer and all that. But now this pops up out of 22 years, now this come up. And he never once said, well, I want a paternity test. And as the years go on, he still never said, I want a paternity test. Now this is when she's a baby coming up. Now you wait till my baby gets to be 23 next month. Now you want to bring a paternity test in when you could have been did that. We didn't have to come all the way out here for that. We could have been like two adults. Like we cool. We never had no problems with one another, none of that. All we had to do was say, well, I'm kind of feeling that might not be my baby. Could we go a little bit further and get a DNA test?
And so, Mr. Powell, that's a good point. The fact that she never heard you say, I don't think she's my daughter, I want a DNA test, she thought you accepted it.
Well, I remember telling her one time that I thought she did look like her ex when she was smaller. But that was like in probably 96, 97. Then I ended up going to the military in like 98. I get some child support papers saying that I owe child support for Aniqua. So I asked the JAG person, you know, in the Navy, well, I want to do a DNA test if I'm finna pay child support. He was like, nah, there's no way you can. You must have missed all that. They saying, this is what you paying.
Excuse me.
When did that happen? I'm going to come to you, Miss Shelton. Just give me one moment.
1999.
When was that? 1999?
Yes.
Your Honor, can I say
something? So Miss Thomas was like 4 or 5 then?
Yes.
Your Honor,
I was all the way in
please?
California. I had lost contact with her for...
No.
We always had lost contact with each other.
We stayed in contact because he always had my number. We always talked. Further to child support, I don't put people in child support. You know, I never put him in child support. I was gone, so whatever happened.
I got paperwork saying that you put me on child support in 1995, 3 months after she was born.
We talked.
So what is that paperwork let me see that, sir.
It's from the circuit clerk I guess of Cook County, and it's saying Yolanda Shelton put me on child support in 1995, 12-15. But that's your name.
This is from the clerk of the court.
That could be my name, but I never put you in child support.
That an action was filed 12-15-1995 where you, Mr. Cole, was the defendant And Ms. Yolanda Shelton was the plaintiff.
I never even filed. They asked me when you get publicated or whatever, they automatically force stuff. But I never put him in child support.
So your testimony is you did not go to seek child support, but you did go down to seek public assistance.
Right.
And at that time, they asked you who the father was.
And all I did was talk.
You gave the name.
I'm supposed to give them the information. I never
And
said
then
I
the
want child
state
support.
pursued this action, Mr. Powell.
And I never even
And I've been
received
paying
child
since
support, anything.
1999, and I owe like $43,000 in back pay.
So with your $43,000 in arrears,
right now
you
today.
have to fear being arrested or losing your driving privileges or any other penalty.
All that. Yes, Your Honor.
All for a child you don't believe is your biological child.
No.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell.
The summer she came and spent with me, she was a teenager. She was with my other kids. Her and my other kids had a conversation, and they was all discussing, like, you don't look like none of us. And I got 6 other kids that been DNA, all 99.95% mine.
Do you
She's the
remember
only one
that
hasn't
summer,
been
Ms.
DNA.
Thomas? Do you remember that summer?
Yes. But even though we had the conversation, you can't tell the DNA off of looks.
No, you can't.
Because I look like my mother.
So tell me about that summer with Mr. Powell. What happened that summer? You felt like your dad had come to get you and take you for the summer?
I mean, yeah, I did, but then also he was still like a stranger to me because I didn't fully know him. So it was like at my own risk that I went with him. So when I went out there, the ride there was like kind of breezy. He was trying to talk to me, but I was like, I'm real shy. So I didn't really speak to him like that. And it took me like a few days to get used to him. He took me places when I was out there. We bonded. He took me to like the state fair. He took me shopping, and I was thinking about moving out there with him.
And at that time, did you believe he denied you?
I didn't feel like that because kids have their own opinions, you know.
So you felt like this was just coming from his children?
Yeah.
That he didn't question it, but they did?
Yeah.
And because you were allowed to come spend the summer, you thought, I'm here with my dad?
Yeah.
Did you ever have a discussion with him about why it was so on and off? Like when you would see him again? Did you ever understand as a young person why your dad was so in and out and inconsistent?
I didn't talk to him about it, but I did talk to my mom about it, and she was like, you know, people move on, and she didn't really have an excuse for why he wasn't around because she can't really say or speak up on his behalf why he wasn't around. But when I did see him and I left, we exchanged numbers, so we kept in contact after that.
Are you able to look at your father, the man you've believed is your father your whole life, and tell him how it felt to be without him, without a consistent relationship with him?
So I just felt like you could have been more in my life as a father, and that we missed out on a lot as I was a kid because, like, you raised all your other kids, and the kids around me had their father. So I just felt like I felt left out for not having a father, but we'll make do with what we lost out on.
My thing was, I just wanted to know the truth. I just wanted to know the truth. And I felt that without that truth and, you know, stuff that was coming out from, like, I was at a party this year. I was discussing with some of the folks that I know back in the day, and I was telling them about the situation I'm going through because they knew Miss Shelton, and I was discussing with one of my guys. He was like, let me see the picture of her. So I showed him the picture of her, and I'm looking at him and looking at her, and I was like, dude, you ever mess with China before? And he was like, yeah, I have.
Really?
Excuse me.
And I'm looking at him and looking at the picture like they even got some.
That's a lie. Because
Yeah, you
first of
wasn't
all,
there. You wasn't at this party.
Whoever it is, I know who I've been with, and whoever you lying on or making up a person that
I
don't
just
even
asked
exist.
him, did he mess with her at this time?
First of all, the
And
only
told
one
him
that
how
I
old
was
she
messing
was,
with
and he said,
around,
yeah.
the only person I was messing with was you, to be honest with you. So that, what you just brung up, you can just take that back because that ain't even true.
This is what somebody
That's
told me.
what you said.
So you're
in fucking
saying this
court.
other person took Miss Thomas's picture and stared at it, and when you asked him if he had been intimate with Ms. Shelton as well, he said yes.
Yes.
That's a lie.
Back in around that time, back in like 95.
That's a lie. Because
That's what he told
the only person
me.
I was messing around with was you.
Well, wait a minute. And
So
now
that's a lie.
you are $43,000 in arrears for child support.
Yes.
And
Well,
you still have no certainty that this is your biological
What I don't
daughter.
understand is that to get down to, you could have been said something about all the doubts you said you had. You never brought it to me. You never talked to me about none of this.
Well, me and her been talking about it.
It doesn't
now.
matter.
I mean,
I'm the
we
parent.
don't need you
I'm
in the picture
parent.
no more.
I'm the
Grown.
parent. First of all, before she was grown, you could have brought all this to me. You said you had doubt. If you had all this doubt.
I was a kid. I was
like
19
said,
years
can I
old,
talk?
or maybe
Because
18 when you told me she was pregnant.
look,
I've been finding
when
out
I told you, you
kids not
already
my
knew that I
kids
was
all
pregnant.
the time.
Like I said, when I was pregnant with her, you was there. You and everything. You came to visit and everything. You was there. You was supportive. You told me the name of Nicole.
I was 18 years
everything.
old. I believe
Age
anything
don't
you
even
told me.
matter.
Yes, it
Age ain't
do.
got
I
nothing
was
to
a
do with
kid.
it. Age don't have nothing
Somebody
to do with
tell
nothing.
you they pregnant by you,
Look,
you know you messed with them.
You know for a fact.
You know
right?
you don't probably believe that.
This is
I'm
what I'm
grown
saying.
now.
You talking about somebody said this. That's a lie. You could have kept that.
I don't
because
know
you
why he
it's a
would've
lie.
lied
You
about it.
already know that it was only you and my ex.
Shane, I'm
So-
not.
All right.
here to argue
So
with you.
regardless
gonna
of
argue with
its,
you. I'm just
regardless
saying,
of the
speak the
fact,
truth,
hold on,
don't
Miss
lie.
Shelton. Regardless of the fact that there was one ex or even a third person which he described, regardless if there was him and an ex, there still is a question
Right.
of paternity.
True.
And that's why we're here. So, Ms. Thomas, before we go to the results, I just want to ask you, you have to hear a lot of difficult testimony surrounding this. And I know this isn't easy. What are you hoping for today?
I hope that he is my father. I really do. Cause I have his name tatted on me.
So you got a tattoo with Mr. Powell's name
Yeah.
already before you were able to get the results of the paternity because
I had
you
it for
believe
years.
you believe so certainly that he's your father?
Yeah.
What made you get the tattoo?
I'm into tattoos for one. And then like I always get people important to me tatted on me. Like I got my brother's name tatted on me. So I added his name to the collection. And then, I don't know, it was just a bond. So it was like, I felt that if I get your name tatted, then somehow you're, I don't know, just associated with me.
And I can see that that really meant a lot to you.
It did.
And so when you stand in this courtroom now and you hear Mr. Powell express his very sincere doubts, how does that feel?
I mean, I don't like that they have to go back and forth because we could have been got this done. But, I mean, we all here now. So I'd rather hear about it now and get it over with than to not know for sure if he is or if he isn't.
What are you feeling, Miss Shelton? What are you feeling right now?
I'm hurt because we had to go through all this. And you was claiming her all this time. This, like I said, this just came to me, to my knowledge. Out of all the years of her life, all the years that me and been knowing each other and talking or whatever, it never came up. So it's like a bomb just been dropped.
And you are certain that Mr. Powell is your daughter's biological father?
Yes.
You have no doubt?
No doubt.
Mr. Powell, has anything you've heard today changed your perspective?
No, Your Honor.
You still do not believe you are Miss Thomas's biological father?
No.
Jerome, let's get the results. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Thomas versus Powell, when it comes to 22-year-old Aniqua Thomas, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Powell, you are not the father. That is not your daughter's biological father, 22 years. 22 years of being told one man is your father, and the entire time, he is not. Was there some other man? Was there this man from the party?
There was no other man.
Mr. Powell, do you know where this man is from that party? Do you know where he is?
Yeah, I can get in touch with him.
I say that because if this man looks at a picture and hears your name and says, yes, I did used to date her, or I was intimate with her back around that time, I don't know whether what he's saying is true or not. I don't know whether the timelines add up or not. But what I do know is this young woman has the name of the man she's been told for 22 years is her father tattooed on her body, only to find out that what she's been told for 22 years is just not true. Mr. Broussard, you opened your case hoping the court will grant you a paternity test so you can prove you are not the father of 4-month-old baby Charles. You say your 1-year marriage to the defendant is on the verge of collapse because of paternity doubt, and you need this test to save your family. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mrs. Broussard, you say your husband's refusal to accept the paternity of your son has left you devastated and your marriage in shambles. You claim your husband has no reason to deny he is your son's father and believe today's DNA results will back up your claim. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So this court must listen to all of the testimony and determine if there is enough evidence to order a paternity test. I'd like to start with you, Mr. Broussard. Why do you say your marriage is on the verge of collapse?
I say my marriage is on the verge of collapse due to the infidelity, the trust issues, and all the evidence, coincidence that I discovered.
And you need this test today because you're on the birth certificate.
Yes, I am.
You are this child's legal father.
Yes, I am.
But you need this test so desperately because if you are not the biological father of this child, you want to have your name removed from this birth certificate.
Correct.
So, Ms. Broussard, what's going on in the home?
He is so obsessed with my ex that he feels that I'm cheating on him every time I do something. We argue, we fight all the time. Me and him just are not getting along at all.
How long has it been this way?
Since the end of last year. There has been rumors going around in the neighborhood that we grew up that he is not the father of our child.
And so you have been talking to your wife about the fact that these are rumors. You believe the rumors, obviously.
Yeah, I believe them based off of my own stuff I had seen and questioned about what I had found.
Do you trust your wife? Answer the question.
No.
You don't. And why is that?
Everything I've found out, everything I've been through.
You submitted a chart to the court
Yes.
concerning how you have come to not trust your wife?
Yes.
Please step over to the exhibit and explain it to the court.
This is a chart I put together. This is the first reason why that gave me my doubt that little Charles is not mine. There was 2 glasses on my table. I just got off work, and basically I walked in, and the cups look freshly poured. You still can see the water dripping off of it because it's going to room temperature. So I asked, like, why is there another cup here? She basically said, I don't know. I said, well, you had in my house then. She didn't know.
She said, I don't know?
Yes.
So, Ms. Broussard, why did you just say, I don't know? Who was in the house drinking the other martini?
They were not martinis, they were cups. And I had poured those cups for a family member that had came over my house who was taking medication.
Okay, so then when he says, how did the glasses, or who are these 2 cups who was over here, why not just answer, my family member, I gave them some water so they could take their medicine, or I gave them something so they could take their medicine. Moving on.
Because I just didn't want to start an argument about having someone in the house.
If it's a family member, why do you have to say, I don't know? Why lie?
That's what I was
Because
thinking.
you do know who's in the house. All right, let's go to number 2.
It's been number 2. This is more towards the end of the month. And basically, we got an energy drink in there. I don't drink energy drinks. She don't drink energy drinks. Our kids don't drink them. So I'm like, who energy drink is this? She telling me I'm tripping. I don't know what I'm talking about. I throw it back in the refrigerator. A couple days later, it was gone. So I'm like, what happened to that energy drink that was in there? Oh, I don't know. I'm like, oh. So he grew legs and walked out.
Why respond, I don't know, Ms. Broussard? I don't understand.
Because I don't know where it came from.
That threw my second
I
down.
don't know
like,
where
she
the
messing with her
energy drink
egg.
came from. For all I know, he planted it there to act like this.
So the mysterious energy drink.
Mysterious
Number
energy
3.
drink. Number 3. The rumors. I am well known in my community, and I felt kind of disrespected when a child came to me and said the ex-boyfriend had told me that him and your wife are still communicating. They want to have a family, a baby together. They about to push you out the picture.
What?
Yeah, it blew my mind. So.
Well, see, that's the thing about kids, though. They'll tell it, honey. And so you heard that she was still talking to the ex and they was gonna push you out the picture.
And have a family.
And have a family. So, Ms. Broussard, do you know who this child is? And how would they get information about your ex?
No, I don't know nothing about no child. He never told me a child told him anything. But my ex was going around spreading rumors to make him upset.
So did you ever confront this ex, Mr. Broussard?
Oh, I did. He basically pointed the finger back at Helen.
And
When
what did
I
he
asked
say?
her about it, she basically telling me that she's not entertaining him. She answers little questions. It's real minor. When I talk to him, he's saying it's major. She's sexing him and trying to meet up with him, and
That is not true.
I'm just stuck in the middle, like who to believe?
No.
So, Ms. Broussard, have you been in touch with your ex?
Not recently, no, but we did talk a couple times last year.
You did talk to him.
Yes.
About what?
Small stuff, him asking me how I'm doing.
All right, what's number 4?
Number 4 is a purple pickle.
Isn't that an eggplant? What does that mean?
Me and Helen was, I believe, in the living room watching TV on one of my days off from work. And her phone went off, so I vibrated, flashing and ding-a-ling. In the corner of my eye, I see a gentleman taking a picture with his gentleman in his hand, sending it to my wife.
So her ex basically sent a naked photo?
Yes.
Because this is from the ex.
Yes.
Miss Broussard, did your ex send you a naked photo?
Yes, he did.
And you don't tell him don't do that?
I do, but he's gonna do it anyways because he, like I said,
And
he
you
wants
don't
to
block
piss him
his
off.
number?
No.
So you see the picture, Mr. Broussard.
Yes.
And what do you say to your wife?
In the back of my mind, I was just like, everything's true. I'm at work, working hard, sweating. She out home creeping. I mean.
You can step back over to the podium now, sir. That exhibit was very enlightening. So how do you go from rumors, the pictures, to just being convinced she slept with her ex?
In August, I was away, and once I returned home, I seen Helen in the shower, and she had like handprints on her thighs, her buttocks, and I just looked at her.
Handprints, like you could see handprints.
Like he was slapping her lower half. So basically, she stepped out the shower. She told me like I slept with him.
Oh!
He just left.
So you admitted to your husband that you had slept with your ex in your house.
Yeah.
And you don't have no shame in it, huh?
But I slept with him after his ex called me telling me that they were having an affair too.
Oh, so the revenge sex.
Yes. I wanted him to feel just as hurt as I did.
Oh, Lord. You say this happened in August.
Yes.
No, it happened in December.
And the baby was born in April?
Yes.
All right. So that would put that right around the window of conception. So, Ms. Broussard, you said it was a different time?
Yes.
When did you say it was?
December.
Oh, you said it wasn't August, it was
No,
December.
I cheated on Charles when I was 5.5 months pregnant.
Ew. So, Mr. Broussard, you say it was August. How do you know it was August?
It was hot. I had a short sleeve on. I was sweating. It was hot. It was a hot month.
All right, so look, let me figure this out. I want to go back to the temperature in August. Where are you all from?
Sacramento.
Sacramento, California. All right. 2017, August, the temperature was 96, 79, 85, 91. As high as 97 degrees, which is hot.
Very.
And here is December. The actual temperature ranged between 30 degrees, pretty chilly, to 60 degrees. So, Mr. Broussard, you would not have been sweating if it was just 30 to 60 degrees.
No, I would not.
I don't remember him wearing no short sleeve, and I don't remember him sweating because that did not happen.
But the sex with your ex did happen.
Yes, that happened.
But you say you were already pregnant when that happened.
Yes, I was.
And so, Mr. Broussard, you would remember if you came home and asked your wife about handprints on her butt and on her body, if she was pregnant, would you not?
Yes, she was not pregnant.
But you believe, Mr. Broussard, that the ex is truly the father of her child.
Yes, I do.
So, Ms. Broussard, have you told your ex about baby Charles?
No.
He doesn't contact you anymore.
I don't he has no contact with me because I blocked him off of everything.
So now you've blocked him.
Yes.
When your husband talks about his paternity doubt, about your beautiful new baby, the fact that he looks at the baby with doubt, what does that make you feel like?
It hurts my feelings a lot because I know he's a father. He looks just like him. And I don't understand why he would doubt him. I can't control his mind.
have our Broussard features. That child clearly has a different face structure.
Do you feel like he looks like her ex?
Yes, he do.
No, he doesn't.
It's just messed up that an innocent child got put in the middle of it. I just want confirmation. I just want to be set at ease. Like, if this is my child, I could move forward and be the proper father and be at my best potential in his life.
Well, hearing the testimony today and the fact that there have been several instances that could lead to potential doubt surrounding Charles's paternity, I believe this court has heard sufficient evidence to order both of you to submit to DNA testing immediately following this hearing and return to this court to get the results. Are we clear?
Yes,
Yes, Your Honor.
I will see you back in this courtroom. Court is adjourned. We are reconvening in the case of Broussard versus Broussard. In the previous hearing, I heard testimony concerning the paternity of 4-month-old Charles Broussard, and this court determined there was sufficient evidence to order you to submit to DNA testing, and we've returned to this courtroom for the results today. Ms. Broussard,
Yes.
you testified in the earlier hearing that this has been wreaking havoc on your relationship.
It has. The detachment between them two is hard.
You say there's detachment between the baby and your husband.
Yes.
Explain.
Like, you know how you could just tell when somebody looks at someone that they just don't care? That's how he looks at them.
And as a mother, that has got to just...
Yeah, it hurts a lot. And I feel like he don't care because when he was born, he wasn't even at the hospital. He was in Vegas with his ex-girlfriend.
And I can see in your eyes, that hurts.
It does hurt.
Well, we're here now, and we have the results. And I think it's time that you finally know the truth. Jerome, may I have the envelope, please? These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Broussard versus Broussard, when it comes to 4-month-old Charles Broussard, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Broussard, you are the father. How does it feel to hear that?
I feel a lot more better about the results. I still got love for him. As far as me and Helen go, you know, we have to work on our marriage and our differences. Pretty happy that this is my biological son.